This conference will now be recorded.
So let me just launch my virtual box. I'm going to start the Cloudera Quick Start VM. Right click, start, normal start. So just a quick recap of what we learned yesterday. So yesterday we spoke about VA editor, right? So we spoke about VA editor and we have seen the different options that we have got in VA editor. And then we moved on to dealing with the files. We have seen how to create empty files by using touch command. And we have also seen how to create the file by using cat command as well. And cat command can also be used to display the contents. Then we spoke about rm command. So rm command, you have to be little careful when you use rm command because rm command is a permanent delete. That is, whenever you delete something by using rm command, it's going to delete it completely, right? So you have to be little careful whenever you use rm command. So we have seen how to remove a file. We have also seen how to remove multiple files. We have seen how to remove the files based on the extension. And we have also seen how to remove a non-empty directory by using rm with -r option. So then the alternative is, now when I say alternative, so before deleting any file or a directory, we should take a backup, right? Right. So we can take the backup by using cp command. So cp command can be used to take a backup of a file or create a copy of a file, right? And not only that, it can also be used to copy a file into a directory. And we have also seen how to copy multiple files into a directory, and we have seen how to copy files based on the extension as well, right? And then we have seen how to copy the contents between directories as well, from one directory to other directory also we have seen. So let's start with mv command. So let me go to the Cloudera Quick Start VM. So you can close this message at the top right corner, and you can close the browser as well. So just to avoid any of the confusion, I'm going to clean up all the things that I've created yesterday. So right click anywhere on the desktop, say open in terminal, maximize the screen, and you can increase the font. Click on view and click on zoom in twice. So we'll talk about mv command, but before talking about mv command, let's create some files and directories. So how to create an empty file? So you can create an empty file by using touch command. So touch space, let's say the file name that I want to create is, let's say, a.txt b c.log and then d.txt. Now we have created some empty files by using touch command. So let's go to the desktop and check. You can see that I have some files created. I don't have any directories right now. Let me create some directories as well on the desktop. So how to create a directory? mkdir space d1, and you should see a directory on the desktop. I can see a directory called as d1 created. So right now, if you look at d1 directory, d1 is completely empty. Now I wanted to move a file called as a.txt into the file called as d1. Let's do that. So mv space a.txt, I want to move to d1 directory. You can see that I don't have the file called as a1a here, a.txt, because it has been moved inside d1. Let us cross check. So let's go to d1 directory, and I can see a file called as a.txt available here. So we have seen how to move a single file. Now can I move multiple files? Let's say I want to move the file called as b as well as c.log into the directory called as d1. Let's do that. So I want to move b c.log into d1. Now go inside d1 and check. You can see that I have those two files copied, b as well as c.log. So let us create some more files. Let me create some more empty files using touch command, touch space file1.txt and file2.txt. So I have created two empty files on my desktop now. I can see file1 and file2. Now I wanted to move all these .txt files into the directory called as d1. How can I do that? I can just use mv space star.txt and then the destination is d1. Now what is the meaning of this star here? It is called as wildcard character. That is, whatever may be the file name, if it is ending with .txt, then I'm going to move all those files into directory called as d1. Hit enter. Now you don't see any .txt files on the desktop because all of those have been moved inside d1. Right? Now let's create one more directory called as d2. mkdir space d2. So you can see that I can see directory called as d2 created. I wanted to move all the files from the directory called as d1 into d2. Then I can try something like this. So mv space d1 /star d2. The meaning of this is, so all the files from d1 should be moved inside d2 directory. Hit enter. First, let's go and check inside d2. If you check inside d2, I can see all these files, right? But what about d1? d1 will be empty because here we're talking about moving the files, right? Not copying the files. So that's why all those files have been moved from d1 to d2. So we have seen how to move a single file. We have seen how to move multiple files. And we have also seen how to move the files based on the extension. Also, we have seen how to move all the files from one directory to other directory, right? Now let's talk about, let me ask you one inter question here. The inter question is this: how do you rename a file or a directory in Linux? This is one of the inter question. And we don't have a command called as rename command in Linux. We have to use mv command itself to rename a given file or a directory. So let me show the same. So let me go inside d2. Suppose let's say I wanted to rename file called as a.txt to april.txt. Let's do that. I'll go to d2. So I'm inside d2 now. So I'm going to rename a to april.txt. mv space a.txt. I want to rename it to april.txt. You can see that a.txt has been renamed into April.txt. Now I want to rename the directory. Suppose let's say the directory name is showing as D2. I want to rename to dir2. Let's do that. So right now in the desktop directory, I'm going to rename D2 to dir2. You can see that D2 has been renamed to dir2. If I can go inside that and check, I can see the contents are same. So whether you rename the file or a directory, inside contents will not change. They will not have any impact. So that's how mv command can be used to move the files and directory as well as rename the files and directory as well. Okay. There is one question in the chat. Let me copy that question so that everyone can see the question. Just a moment. So the question is this: can you please create one file in Cloudera Home and copy the files from desktop screen? So see, when you have the commands, you don't need to do anything manually, right? You don't need to do anything drag and drop from your desktop. So is that a question? So can you unmute yourself, ask the question, Leela?
I mean, I just want to know, I mean, when you created files in Cloudera Home, I mean, with command, how to copy, I mean, if you created one file in desktop, I mean, like touch, touch anything.
Okay, I'm going to create a file here. Let's say e.txt on my desktop. Okay.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? I'm not getting the question actually. So we have the file here. Then what next? What are you looking for?
Copy
You
this.
mean drag and drop?
Yes.
Drag and drop.
Copy this
That what?
file to Cloudera Home. How can we copy?
Cloudera Home.
Yeah, I mean.
You mean this one?
Yes.
This one.
Yeah, any path maybe.
Okay, let's try. You just have to drag and drop.
I mean, I just want you to move this file to Cloudera Home. How to write like command?
Okay, Cloudera's Home. So I have already drag and dropped this f.txt to Cloudera Home. Let's go and check there. You can see that here, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll show that command wise also. Let me do one thing. Let me remove this. Okay, so I'm going to create one more file. So right now I'm on the desktop and I can see the file called as sample.txt. Suppose I wanted to move this file sample.txt into the directory called as home Cloudera. Then I could just say mv sample.txt. You can give the full path, home Cloudera. Now let's go to home Cloudera path. So I'm in home Cloudera path. I can just turn. Okay, so this command I haven't spoken about it yet. Ignore it right now. You can see the file here. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I mean, you are telling like from desktop screen, right? I just want to know from if you have.
Okay, from the command wise.
Yeah, that's
This is how you can give the full path that works.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, that's with respect to MV. Now let's talk about LS. Again, LS is quite widely used. So let's talk about LS. So I will go to my root directory to talk about LS. I'm in my root directory right now. I'm going to type ls command. So ls is going to give me the list of all the files and directories in the alphabetical order. Right. So now you can see that it is starting with bin, boot. It is ending with user and then var. Right. So this is going to give the output in the alphabetical order. Now I wanted to reverse this order. Right. So I can just pass on ls with -r. So you can see the order, it's getting reversed. Right. You can see first it's displaying var, then user, and then it's ending with boot and pin, right? Now suppose, let's say that I wanted to, by looking at this, we are still not clear which one is a file, which one is a directory, isn't it? Now to get more information, you just have to pass on ls with hyphen L and hyphen R. So that is, L is nothing but long listing. When I say long listing, it's going to give you more information about each of these. So whether it is a file, whether it is a directory, etc. If you look at the output here, you can see that most of these are starting with D. What is the meaning of D? All these are directories. All these are directories here. So to show some files, let me go to my home directory. So I'm in the home directory of the Cloudera user. Let's rerun the command again. Now you can see that there are some of the things which is starting with hyphen. Let's take this one. Enterprise deployment.json. This is starting with hyphen. So this is a file. So let's take desktop. So desktop is a directory. It is starting with D. So if it is a directory, it will start with D. If it is a file, it will start with hyphen. So that's how you're going to figure out which one is a file, which one is a directory. So we have seen how to get the list of all the files and directories in alphabetical order. We have seen how to get it in the reverse order also. And to get more information, we need to pass ls with hyphen L option. That will give you more information about each of that. And so if you look at the output here, if you look at the output carefully, the output is not sorted, not in any order. You can see it's showing as October, then April, then October, then April, and so on. So let us put it in order. We just have to pass on an option called as T. T is nothing but time-based sorting or time-based ordering. Enter. Now if you look at the output, you can see that it's all in the correct order. You can see February 2015, then October 2017, then April, and so on. That's how we can sort it in the timestamp panel also. Now you don't need to write these options separately. If you want, you can club all this together. Now when I say club, ls hyphen LRT. So that will give the same output. Right? You can see that there is no change in the output and you got the same output. So that's how we can list the files and directories based on the given timestamp. And in the projects, the most widely used option combination is ls with hyphen LRT. That is the most widely used option combination in the projects. And there is one interesting thing called as hyphen H. Using that, you should be able to see the file sizes in a human readable way. Now, when I say human readable way, in the big data, we are going to deal with huge files. So if you use hyphen H option, then you are going to see the sizes in the MBs or GBs or TBs. Right now, we don't have any huge file, but let us try with hyphen H option. You can see this file, enterprise deployment.json, showing us 53,655 bytes. To see it in a human readable fashion, you can say hyphen H. Now you can see it showing us 53 KB, 50 KB, and so on. Especially in the big data world, this will be very, very handy, using hyphen H option to see the file sizes in a human readable way. Now let me ask you one interview question here. The entire question is this: how do you see the hidden files and directories in Linux? How do you see the hidden files and directories in Linux? So that's one of the interview question. So first of all, what is a hidden file? What is a hidden directory? Any file or any directory which starts with dot is a hidden file or a hidden directory. Now, how to see the hidden files or hidden directory? You're going to use an option called as hyphen A. Right? Now there will be one interview question here again. So here we're talking about hidden files and hidden directories. Then why are we giving the option as A? Right? That's a very valid question. Right? Why can't it be -h? There are two reasons behind that. I'll tell you both. First of all, that -h option is already taken for human readable sizes of the files. And the second thing why we are giving A is nothing but whenever you say A, it refers to all files on directories. It will give you your regular files and directories as well as your hidden files and directories. Let me show that. So right now I'm in the home Cloudera path. I'll just say lsfn-lrt. Now you can see that, do you see any files or any directories which are starting with dot? None of the files or none of the directories are starting with dot. So these are all your regular files and directories. Now along with these regular files and directories, I wanted to see the hidden files and directories also. Then pass an option called as -a. So -a refers to all files and directories. It will show your regular files and directories as well as your hidden files and directories. Now you can see that there are plenty of the things that are starting with dot. Let's take this .gconf. So it is a hidden directory because it is starting with dot and it is starting with D here. This is a hidden directory. Let's take .bash history. So this .bash history is a hidden file because it is starting with dot and it is starting with hyphen, right? So that's how you can basically figure out which one is a file, which one is a directory, and which one is a hidden file and which one is a hidden directory. Observe one more thing. It is not only displaying the hidden files and directories. You can also see your regular files and directories. Suppose you can see the public directory, templates directory. These are all your regular files and directories because these are not starting with dot, right? None of these are starting with dot. You can also see the files as well, your regular files such as express deployment rotation, enterprise deployment rotation. These are all your regular files. So the point is very clear. If you want to see the hidden files and directories, you have to use an option called as -a. That will give your regular files and directories as well as your hidden files and directories. And not many people are aware of this option. So there are certain handy options that I have noted down here. So these will be used quite a lot in the projects. Let me cover that. So I'm in my home Cloudera path. If I say lsfn-lrt, it is giving me both the files and directories. Right? You can see that there are some files, right, which are starting with hyphen, and there are some directories which are starting with D. So it is basically giving me both files and directories. Now, what if I want only the directories? What if I want only the directories? I don't want to see the files. In that case, what you could do is you could just use lsfn-lrt and you can use this vertical symbol. This is called as pipe symbol. We call it as pipe symbol. And I am going to use a command called as grep command. So grep, and then you can use this symbol called as caret symbol. Let me write it down here. So this symbol is called as caret symbol, C-A-R-E-T, caret. And then D. Now, what is the meaning of this command? Let me touch upon it again. So here I'm using this vertical symbol. What is the meaning of this? This symbol is called as pipe symbol. So this is basically used to connect two commands. Output from the first command will go as input to the next command. Now, what is the meaning of grep? So grep is basically used to search for any words. So it is similar to the find option that you have in Windows, right? So let me just open my Windows and show that to you. So if you open Windows on top right corner, you can basically search for anything, right? So the similar thing that we can do it in Linux also by using grep command. So grep, and then this symbol is called as caret symbol, and then D. That is from the output of the lsfn-lrt command, get me only the contents which are starting with D. So that's how we should be able to get only the directories. Now you can see that it's getting me only the directories. Suppose I want only files now. Just try to grep for hyphen. that will get you only the files. Can you see that all of these are starting with hyphen? Okay, so right now I'm in the home Cloudera path, but from here I wanted to see the contents of my root directory. I can say lsfnlrt / enter. That's going to give me the contents from my root directory. Even though I'm in home Cloudera path, I can still see the contents from my root directory by giving this. Let's go to the root directory. I'm in my root directory. Now I want to see the contents of my desktop directory. Then you can just say lsfnlrt home Cloudera desktop. Enter. So even though I'm in the root directory, I can still see the contents of my desktop. Now, can you replace this home Cloudera with something else? Yes, you just have to replace that with tilde symbol. Yesterday I've spoken about it, right? So both are same. You can actually home Cloudera directory is nothing but your tilde symbol. This symbol is called as tilde. So you can replace home Cloudera with the tilde symbol, and it is giving you the same output. Suppose if you wanted to see the contents of your home Cloudera path, then you can give home Cloudera. That's going to give the contents from your home Cloudera directory. Now, can you replace home Cloudera with something else? Yes, you just have to replace that with tilde symbol. That works. That's going to give the same output. So these are some of the handy options which I have noted on here, and these will be helpful moving on. Okay, so before moving on to next concept, I've got one question in the chat. Let me take the question and paste it here so that everyone can see it. So by default, there are hidden files, or is there any option as to make it as hidden file? So there are some hidden files which are already created whenever the Cloudera team has been created. We can also give a try to create a hidden file. Let's do that. So I am in home Cloudera path. Let's say touch. Let's say .april.txt. Let me say as a penalty. Now you don't see that file called as april.txt because I've created it with dot. Now let us give a try to see that by using -a option. Now can you see that? I can see the hidden file, right? So you can see that to create a hidden file, it's very simple. Just prefix it with dot. Just start it with dot. That is nothing but your hidden file. And as you can see, you cannot see that hidden file in a normal way. To see that, we have to use -a option. Then only you should be able to see that. Does that answer your question, Leela?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, cool. So any questions with respect to LS so far? Anybody have any questions? Okay, I think we are good to move on to the next concept. So I would like to revisit once again on cat command. So let me go back. So I'm in home Cloudera path. I'm going to create a couple of files. I'm going to create file1.txt. This is file1.txt. And I'm going to create one more file, file2.txt. This is file2.txt. So I've created two files and I can see the contents of both the files, file1.txt and file2.txt. So you have these two files. Now, if you wanted to see the contents of both the files together, you can do it. Let's say cat space file1 and file2. You can see the why is it showing no such file? Just a moment. Okay, so let me try with cat command one more time, file1.txt, file2.txt. Now you can see the contents from both the files, right? So not only a single file, you can also see the contents of multiple files in a single shot. Now, can I create a third file by using the contents of these two files? Yes. You just have to say greater than symbol, then say file3.txt. So what I'm trying to do here, the contents of file 1 and the contents of file 2 will be clubbed together, and we should be creating a new file called as file3.txt. You can see that new file called as file3.txt here. Let's check the contents of file 3, and I can see the contents of file 3 is the combination of file 1 and file 2. Right? Now, whenever you display the contents of a file by using cat command, if you wanted to see the line numbers also, you can do that. You can just use an option called as -n that will give the line numbers. You can also use -b option that will also give the line numbers. So we have seen cat command how to display the contents of a file by using cat command, and when displaying the file, we can see the line numbers by using -n or -b option. Also, we have seen how to display the contents from multiple files, right? We have also seen how to club the contents of multiple files into a single file as well. So everything is good, but there is one problem with cat command. So what is the problem with cat command? So the problem with cat command is it will try to display the entire contents of the file, whether you really need it or not. Let me show that. So I'm in home Cloudera path. I have some files here. In fact, on your Cloudera quick start VM also, you should find the same files under home Cloudera path. If you go to home Cloudera path, you should see these two files, express deployment.json, enterprise deployment.json. So I wanted to check the contents of enterprise deployment.json file. Let's do that by using cat command, cat space the file name. Again, I will show you how to use auto completion now. If I say cat and then say E, hit tab, you can see that there are three things that are starting with E. Which one are you looking for? So we wanted to see the contents of enterprise deployment.json. So then I have to say EN. If you say EN, none of the other things going to match. It will directly display enterprise deployment.json. Right? You can see it's automatically filled up. Now, if I have to type it fully, enterprise -deployment. So it's very common that we make typing mistake if the file names are lengthier. Right? You can see that it's saying no such file or directory because the file name is lengthier. If you want to type it, expect such problems, because you can see that in deployment I am missing out O. In JSON I am adding I, which is wrong. So that's why try to use auto completion or path completion as much as you can, because we don't need to go through all such issues. Right? Now let me show that again. Cat E, it will display everything that is starting with E. Now I want to see the contents of enterprise deployment.json. Hence I'm going to type EN. Now any of these three is starting with N? Yes, only one of it's starting. So then it should display directly. Hit enter. Right? Now you can see that it is displaying the contents of all the contents, basically entire content of a file. So let us try to see the number of lines in this file. How to see the number of lines? You can use this pipe symbol. Then you can just use WC-L. What is the meaning of WC? Word count. L is nothing but number of lines. So you can see that it's saying 1837. That is, this file contains totally 1837 lines. So it is displaying all 1837 lines. So 1837 is still a small number. Sometimes in big data world, you may have to deal with a file which contains 1 crore lines. Then if you use cat command on that 1 crore line file, it will display all 1 crore of lines, whether you really need it or not. So that's why in the big data world, to see the file contents, we will preferably not go with cat command. instead of cat command, we'll go with something called as head command. So head command will display first 10 lines of a file by default. Let me show that. You can just say head space the file name. It's going to display first 10 lines of a file. You can even check whether it is 10 lines or not. wc-l, it's saying 10. It's going to display first 10 lines of a file by default. Now, let's say I want to see first 15 lines of a file by default, or not default. Let's say I want to see first 15 lines. Just use head space -n 15, then give the file name. You can see the 15 lines now. So head command can be used to display first 10 lines of a file by default. You can also specify a number to see only those many number of lines from the first. There is another interesting command called as tail command. So tail command is opposite of head. So tail command is going to display last 10 lines of a file by default. Let's try that. Tail space enterprise deployment.json. It's going to display last 10 lines of a file by default. Right? So now what if, just to confirm that this is giving you last 10 lines, you can just say wc-l. It's giving you last 10 lines of a file by default. Now I wanted to see the last 15 lines from a file. Can I do that? Tail space -n 15 and then the file name. You should be able to see last 15 lines of a file now. So these are the last 15 lines from a file. So we have seen how to use tail command, and tail command will display last 10 lines of a file by default. If you wanted to see last 15 lines from a file, you can just say -n and number 15. That should display last 15 lines from a file. Any questions still here, guys? Anybody have any questions? Okay, I think we are good so far. There are no questions. Let us move on. So let me try to summarize what we have learned. So we spoke about mkdir command. So mkdir is used to create the directories, and rmdir command is used to remove the directories. And we have also seen how to use cd command to change the directory. If you want to move from one directory to other directory, we can use cd command. And if you wanted to know the current working directory, we have seen how to use pwd command. So pwd is nothing but print working directory or present working directory. So we have also seen how to use man command to get the manual pages of a given command. And so if you don't have manual pages, we can use help. Help will also give you different options of a given command. We have also seen rm command. So rm command is used to remove the files and directories, but remember, that's a permanent delete. So you have to be little careful whenever you use rm command, because once you delete, it's gone completely. So that's where you have to take a backup of a file by using cp command, right? So cp command can be used to take a backup of a file. Then we spoke about mv command. So mv command is used to move the files or directories or rename the files or directories. Also, we spoke about vi editor. So vi editor is very, very important. So it is basically used to edit the files. And then we have used ls command to see the list of all the files and directories. And to see the contents of a file, we can use cat command. But the problem with cat command is it will display everything. It will display all the contents from a file. We may not be interested to see all the contents of a file. So especially in the big data world, the files are huge as well. So that's why, preferably we will not use cat command to display the contents of a file. Rather than cat command, we'll go with head command. So head command will display first 10 lines of a file by default. If you want to see last 10 lines of a file, by default, then you can use tail command. So based on yesterday's session and today's session, I got 10 interview questions for you. So what I would suggest is go through yesterday's recording, practice everything. Go through today's recording and practice everything. Then come back to these interview questions and try to answer these on your own. Of course, I'll be providing the answers to these questions in a separate file so that you can cross check. Right? So that's all I wanted to cover in today's session, guys. Any questions anybody have, let me know. So tomorrow we're going to talk about Hadoop commands. Right? So before closing today's session, any questions anybody have, let me know. Any questions so far? I hope you guys are able to set up the Cloudera Quick Start VM. Does anybody need any help? Let me know.
Yes, sir. Like, I've sent a screenshot, a picture to your WhatsApp number. I got an error while opening the Cloudera.
Yeah, I'm checking that screenshot now. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
So meanwhile, others, please go ahead if you have any other questions or if you need any help with respect to Cloudera Quick Start VM setup, let me know. Sheila, can you click on details and send a screenshot?
Even that I've sent, sir.
No, you haven't sent that. Click on details. There is a button called as details, right? Click on it and send a screenshot of that. Because we need to figure out why exactly you're seeing that error.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So do that.
Yes, sir. I'm getting a problem with virtual box.
Okay.
Actually, it was showing that unsupported hard.